Today is Friday, May 2nd, and it was a pretty good Friday for me today, up about 5.35%. This is on a day where the NASDAQ is up 1.5, but I believe the NASDAQ is still down about 5% year to date, while I believe I'm up, 3.6%. So even though I'm still down pretty heavily from my all-time highs, I am still outperforming the NASDAQ, so I can't complain too much. And when it comes to my portfolio, not too much has changed other than Palantir is now larger than my entire Nike stake. And it's only because Palantir has gone all the way back up to all-time highs, while Nike, of course, has continually been going down. And I believe it's only slightly, it's only up like almost $200 more than my Nike stake. But that should change here shortly, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But I did go ahead and add a little bit more REPX. I think I bought 5 more shares of Pepsi as well. But if any of you guys notice, I did go ahead and purchase both of the cruise lines that reported earnings this week. And I now have 4 shares of Google and 1 share of Amazon. And if we take a look at my transaction history, I believe we last left off on the Google sell. So once again, I did go ahead and sell my Google trade, and it was on earnings, and that brought my total number of shares that I have in Google to 4. I did also purchase some more REPX, and of course the 2 cruise lines that I mentioned earlier. And the reason why I decided to purchase those 2 was I actually thought they were going to go up on earnings, and this week has been a little weird because stocks have been going up and down, and it seems like it's been screwing both bulls and bears. And it almost feels like the market is trying to stomp out that volatility that we've had recently in these last, I want to say either 1 month or 2 months. We've had an insane amount of volatility. But yeah, I did go ahead and buy those 2 cruise lines just because I wanted to own them for a while now, and I thought they were going to go up on earnings, but I'm basically flat on it. I did go ahead and get my QQQ dividend, and I did also buy Amazon for another earnings trade because I thought it was going to be a similar situation to Google, Meta, and Microsoft. And unfortunately, I did miss out on Meta and Microsoft, so I didn't want to miss out on Amazon. But it barely even budged because if you guys see up at the top, I did go ahead and sell my Amazon for $192. So it only went up $2 after earnings, which ties back to what I mentioned earlier about how the market feels like it's trying to stomp out that volatility. But of course, I did also buy 5 more shares of Pepsi, and I sold another covered call on Palantir. So this one is a lot more closer in terms of expiration. I believe the other one that I showed you guys in the last video expires somewhere towards at the end of the year, versus this one is more of an earnings hedge. But I did go ahead and take that 500 and put it into REPX. And of course, I've got 3 more dividends coming from TLT, REPX, and American Express. And when we take a look at my past week chart here on Robinhood, as you can see, I'm only up about 1.6% for the week, but I've had these wild swings back and forth. And it really feels like the market is trying to tamp down that volatility that I was talking about. And another example of this is Robinhood, where they actually did good on earnings and the stock was way up, but then the stock for some reason just started going down. And then when Vlad started doing appearances on Bloomberg and CNBC, the stock started making its way back up, and Robinhood, of course, finished about 1.5% down on the week. And another example of what I've been talking about is Amazon, of course, basically flat for the week. However, it did have that big dip, I want to say before earnings. And I don't think this is the earnings one, but it did tag 191 before this week, or during the week, I should say. And then, of course, it went back down to 181. And then I want to say this was earnings, or close to it, where Amazon did tag 192, but then it just starts going down. And I want to say it hit 185 after earnings. And then, of course, today, Amazon, well, it was at 185. And then, of course, before in the pre-market, it tagged 192 again. And then Amazon came right back down to 186. And, of course, it went back up towards noon, or right around noon, back at 192. But it ended up just finishing flat, or slightly down, but basically flat for the day. And this is kind of what I've been talking about in terms of the market trying to stomp out the volatility. And I believe the VIX was also down 7.8% today. So it's not just me feeling it, but the actual volatility index is saying that volatility is going down. So it is a bit unfortunate that I missed out on the Meta and Microsoft earnings. I did make a little bit, as you guys know, off of the Google earnings. But for sure, the Amazon trade did not go as well as I thought it would. But I did still finish it out with a profit, so I can't complain.